Hello, faithful friends of the internet. I'm Jason Mayfield, and this is Grace for Today, the show where I teach the Bible and help you experience grace for life through Jesus Christ. This week, we've been talking about rest. We've been talking about, the first day we talked about physical rest. I just realized my phone is out. Got to put that away. The second day, we talked about physical rest. Yesterday, we talked about protecting your atmosphere, controlling your atmosphere. Today, I want to talk about the last installment of rest, creating rest in your life, walking in constant rest. Because again, going back to the first day, we talked about the Sabbath versus rest. The Sabbath is a day of the week, but rest is constant. Rest is a state that you operate in. And so today, what we're going to talk about is building your wealth. Building your wealth. Why? Well, because wealth, your net worth, brings a level of rest into your life. And if you don't believe me, I just want you to take a moment and imagine what your life would be like if you never had to consider money again. What would your life be like if the cost of something was no longer an issue? What would it be like if you no longer had to go to your job? What would it be like if you no longer I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying, what would it be like if you no longer had to? What would your life look like if you had built your wealth and you were no longer concerned about money? That money no longer was any issue whatsoever. I'll tell you, if you want full transparency, this is the phase of life that me and Ashley are in. We are thinking to ourselves, what does it look like if 10 years from now, we never have to do anything again? Not never do anything again, not quitting everything, not walking away from, but what would it look like if in 10 years from now, we make all of our decisions based on what we want to do? Based on what we feel called to do, not based on whether or not we need money. Believe it or not, as well as we do, there are still decisions that we make that are based on money. Well, what would it look like if that was not a situation for us, or that was not the situation for us? So today, I want to talk to you, and I want to be very clear. We are in the wealth building phase. So in today's episode, I'm at least going to give you some keys to get you to the wealth building phase of your life. And so number one thing that you need to do if you want to start building wealth in your life, if you want to labor to enter the rest, Hebrews 4:11, therefore let us labor to enter the rest. You got to do that. Listen, this out of all the areas is for real. You got to do the work. You got to do the work. So here we go. Number one, get on a written budget. Proverbs 27 says this: know well the condition of your flocks and give attention to your herds. Know well the condition of your flocks. You've got to get on a written budget. You need to know where your money is going. If you're looking at your financial statements after you've spent the money, it's too late. You need to tell your money where to go, not find out where it's been. I know too many of us live thinking, where does all this money go? That's a legitimate concern. I understand how we get there. I also understand that sometimes finances are just so daunting that we don't want to deal with it. And so we are sitting back going, my God, I don't want to mess with these finances, so I'll just wait and see. And hopefully I'll have enough. I'll just do what I can. And look, I want you to know, we've lived in those days. We've lived in tough financial days. We lived in those days where we'd pay a bill with a credit card and then pay the credit card bill. And that way it was like we were only paying one. And if you don't have any money, that's a tip right there. Pay your phone bill with the credit card, but then you pay your credit card. Now you paid both. I don't recommend it, but it does work when you're tight. But you got to know the conditions of your field. So how do you do a written budget? A written budget's really easy. Okay, go to your bank online and hopefully you can do this where you can download it and just do it in a spreadsheet. But if not, you might have to manually enter some of this stuff. But go to your bank and get 2 months or more of financial statements. So you find out where all of your money has gone, okay, for at least 2 months. And then, this is going to be important. You got to remember how many months you do. So if you do 2 months, I want you to download those, and then I want you to figure out all your categories that you're spending money on. Groceries, car payments, gas, electricity, mortgage. What are all the categories that you're spending money on? Wouldn't hurt you to do a category just for Amazon. Some of us are spending so much money on Amazon without even realizing it. And so get all your categories, and then however many months you downloaded, if you downloaded 2, you want to divide those categories by 2. If you downloaded 4 months, you want to divide it by 4. That's going to give you an average of what you're spending in those areas every month. Once you know what those averages are, you need to start working your way down. So if you do it and you realize, hey, we're spending $1,800 on restaurants every month. All right, maybe that's excessive. So let's back off of the restaurants a little bit and let's start saving some of that money. Let's eat at home or something. But get your written budget together and then you can start backing down. First step to the written budget, download a few months worth of financial statements. Number 2, categorize and then average those categories by however many months of financial statements you downloaded. 3 is probably the safest number, but you could do 2. And then third, you need to start working your way down. Figure out where you're spending excessively and start working your way down. The second thing you want to do to start building wealth is you want to go 100% debt-free. Listen to this. Proverbs chapter 6 says, "My son, if you've put up security for your neighbor, have given your pledge for a stranger, if you are snared in the words of your mouth, caught in the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, and save yourself. For you have come into the hand of your neighbor. Go hasten and plead urgently with your neighbor. Give your eyes no sleep, give your eyelids no slumber. Save yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the hand of the fowler." Listen, if you found yourself in debt, I want to encourage you. This is not time for you to start resting. You need to enter into a grace revelation. You need to skip the physical rest. You need to skip the controlling your atmosphere. And you need to go do whatever it takes to get 100% debt free. You need to be delivering pizzas. You need to start a side income. You need to increase your income somehow. You need to create multiple streams of income. You need to do your job and you need to do another job. Now, I have rules for creating multiple streams of income. I always say try to create a stream of income out of something that doesn't take you a lot of effort, something you can do in a minimal amount of time that other people cannot. For me, I could edit video or do graphic design or something because I can do it in such a fraction of the time that other people can do it. I could take on 2 to 3 more clients than most people could. But you have got to get out of debt. Now, here's the key. You want to pay off your smallest debt first. So it's called the snowball method. You want to pay off your smallest debt, work your way up to your largest debt. The reason is that paying off debt is going to be mostly behavioral. So you want to get some wins under your belt. So pay off the smallest debt to the largest debt. And here's the deal. Give little attention to the interest rates. Now, if you got a $9,000 debt and a $10,000 debt, and the $9,000 debt is 27% interest rate, and the $10,000 debt is 3% interest rate, pay the $10,000 off. Pay the $9,000 off because you want that $27,000 or that 27% interest rate paid off. So pay little attention. Don't get caught up in the interest rates. Don't try to pay off a $60,000 loan because it's got a 27% interest rate, and hold off on a $150 loan because it's got a 3% interest rate. Pay the $150 off. Get those small debts taken care of. Get them out of the way. I promise you, once you start getting that feeling of paying off some debts, you're going to want to keep going. It's going to fuel the fire. And trust me, the process is not fun, and you're going to want fuel to your fire. Now, here's another thing I want to tell you. Don't pay off your mortgage unless you could categorize your mortgage as a small debt. For me, a small debt probably would be, for most people, under $75,000. So if you got $50,000 in consumer debt and you got a $50,000 mortgage, maybe go ahead and attack the mortgage. It's only $50,000. Otherwise, hang on to your mortgage. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that later on down the road. I'm not even sure that paying off a mortgage on your house is the best thing to do, because you can, if you have an interest rate, especially one you've gotten lately that's 2 or 3%, you can out invest what you're losing in the interest rate. So $500,000 paying off a house might be better over in an investment account. So, but that's another story for another day. When you're there, reach out to somebody and have that conversation. But don't try to pay off your mortgage in this step of the process. Mortgage debt is one of the only okay debts in my opinion. I don't believe in business debt. I don't like car loans. I don't like any of that stuff. Y'all need to stop getting car loans. And by the way, car loans are debt. If you are making payments on a car, that's a debt. Everybody wants to act like it's not a debt. I don't know. I'll hear people say, "Oh, I'm debt free. I've only got my car payment." You're not debt free. You have a really stupid loan, as a matter of fact. So now I know you may be thinking, Jason, are you even qualified to talk about going debt free? Well, I don't know. We paid off $63,801.99 in 6 months. I don't know. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. But I felt like once we got the $63,801.99 paid off in 6 months and then put $25,000 in the bank the following 2 months, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. In fact, I don't owe anybody anything. I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Number 3, save an emergency fund. An emergency fund. Listen to this. Continuing on what we read a minute ago in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6, go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief officer or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. You've got to prepare for when something happens. Hopefully something never happens, but you need to have some money chilling just in case. You need to have some money hanging out just in case something were to come up. You do not want to go into debt over emergencies, and you don't want to be in a situation where you have to get approved for money in an emergency. You want to know you have access to the money because it's your money and you don't have to go through anybody to get it. It's your money. And so a couple of things on this, on the emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months expenses. A year would make you feel overly safe. Now, I also want to be clear. We're not talking about 3 to 6 months worth of income. Hopefully you're making more money. If you've been doing a debt-free process and an emergency fund, hopefully up through this process, you've been spending a significant amount of your income just on paying down debt and saving. That means that your expenses are everything outside of that. So you want to make sure that it's expenses. If you make $5,000 a month, but it costs you $3,000 a month to live, I have no idea how anybody lives on $3,000 a month, but I know people do it. It costs us so much to live. But some days I just think I just want to go live in a little tiny house. But even them things are expensive at this point. And so you want to make sure that you have the expenses. So 3 to 6 months of $3,000 would be $9,000 to $18,000. $30,000 will be 1 year worth of, or no, $36,000 will be 1 year worth of expenses because there's 12 months in a year, not 10. Facts. So you want to have that money that sits there and is chilling. 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Now, where do you put that money? Don't get jiggy with it. Don't go invest it. Don't go do crazy stuff with it. Just want to put it in a good savings account that you can get access to really quick. I will make this recommendation. I want you to know that what I'm about to tell you, I take no legal responsibility. You do whatever you want. It's your decision. I'm just telling you what I do. I have my normal bank, but then I have my emergency fund with Ally Bank, ALLY. And Ally Bank is great because it's all online. So you set everything up online. You open your account online. You deal with them online. You don't go into any branches. What I like about it is that it kind of just sits over there and doesn't have anything to do with the rest of my money. So my emergency fund hangs out in another account and I don't see it. I don't feel like I have it. You really don't want to feel like you have it. My general rule, we like to keep about $50,000 just sitting there just in case. I will also say, just to toss this in, the more wealth you build in other areas, the less essential a massive emergency fund is. So, if you've got, like we do, if you have other significant money sitting somewhere else, if you have another account that's got tens of thousands of dollars in it that just hangs out for the most part, then your emergency fund becomes a little more, It's there just in case. But, and for what it's worth, I cannot fathom having an emergency that would be that much. But just in case something happens, it sits there. I said this to somebody one day. I said, we just want to have it in case all hell breaks loose. And they go, well, what would all hell breaking loose be? I said, I don't know. But if it happens, I want to have some money chilling over there. And so I like to keep about 50 just chilling. We could probably put more in there, but we've got more money floating around in other places. So again, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Last, once you've gotten on your written budget, you've paid off your debt, you've saved for an emergency fund, now you want to start building wealth. You want to start putting money in places where it can grow or places where it can do things that you need it to do. That may be saving for your kids' college fund. That's an investment in your kids. Maybe it's kids' college fund. Maybe it's putting it in mutual funds. Maybe it's putting it into real estate. Maybe it's putting it into, by the way, if you're going to put it into real estate, I encourage you, don't go do it with debt. Go do it with cash. Do it with cash so you own the asset, and also all the cash flow is positive. 100% of what comes in goes to the expenses and not to the debt. You don't want to just be making payments on a mortgage with your rental income, because it's not income. That's just balancing an asset. You might as well just have the money at that point. But maybe it's mutual funds. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's starting a business. Whatever it is, you want to take that money and you want to start building it. But I want you to hear me when I say this. This is the most important deal. By the way, the best way to do all of this stuff is to drive your income up through the roof. My wife and I were just grateful that we were able to start building multiple streams of income back in around towards the end of 2015. 2016, we were full-time working for ourselves. We just built multiple streams of income. We're thankful that we've got things we could do today or tomorrow to make more money. We're trying to manage everything that we can. Matter of fact, the Lord's just been so good to us. I mean, I basically full-time minister to you guys for free. This is a full-time job. This is 4 videos a week. These got to be edited. They got to be published. They got to, they got to be filmed. They got to be prepared. And praise God, we're just in a good enough situation. Some days I think about quitting so we could just maximize our income, but I'm thankful that I'm able to do this for free. I think right now we're so thankful for those of you that are giving online, but I think right now we're up to $430-something a month that's coming in. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like full-time money to me. I can't even hire any help with it, but I'm excited to see that continue to grow. And I appreciate all of you who have gone and given over at jasonmayfield.com/give. It's been a great blessing and a great encouragement to me. But here's the deal when it comes to building wealth. You want to maximize your income, but here's the deal. Comes to building wealth. This is what you need to know. I put it on the screen. Right here, when you build wealth, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. You want to make sure you're building enough wealth that it lasts multiple generations. But here's what I want you to know. You have enough money when money can no longer influence your decisions. You have enough money when money can no longer influence your decisions. I get asked this question all the time because me and my wife have gone from making, similar to what we were making. Well, we've gone from making just some extra money to help with my full-time salary and her full-time salary that we added later on in our marriage. And then we went from making the same thing as we were making. Now there are months where we make what used to be our annual salary in the month. So we've really gone. And so we get the question from time to time, how much is too much? How much is too much? Well, the answer is you have enough money. Enough is enough when money can no longer influence your decisions. And that is a different level for everybody. I see some people who live out on a piece of land in a trailer, and they got a pole barn, and they got boats and all this stuff. They kind of live like old Phil Robertson. You see him on Duck Dynasty. They kind of live like that. And they're happy as a lark. Well, that comes at a lower level than, if you want to live in an $800,000 house and drive 2 nice brand new cars and, never get up and work. It's different levels for different people. That number is not set in stone. But once you have enough money that it no longer influences your decisions, that's when you have enough. That's when you have enough. When I no longer have to do anything, that's enough. When I can go out and do anything I want to do that's enough. And I know that everybody says, well, the Bible says to be content. It does say to be content, but we also have a biblical mandate that came from Jesus, not Paul. That came from Jesus about finances, and that is that our primary calling with finances is not to give, it's not to bless, it's not to tithe it, it's not to enjoy it, it's not to loan it, it's to multiply it. Our primary financial mandate is to multiply it. Whatever is put into your hands financially, your job is to multiply it. It preceded the fall. In the Garden of Eden, by design, I've given you trees with seed in them to sow. You have seed to sow. You are supposed to multiply it. God's initial design was multiply. So you need to multiply what you have. You have to build wealth. When you have enough money that you no longer are influenced by money's presence or absence for your decisions, then you have enough. And when you live there, you're going to live in a place of rest because you're not going to make decisions based on what you have to do. You're not going to go, oh gosh, I don't want to do this, but I have to, because you don't have to. You don't have to go to work tomorrow if you don't want to. You don't have to take that phone call. You don't have to take that client. You don't have to deal with that person, but you don't have to do it. Why? Because you have enough money that money no longer influences your decisions, and your decisions are being made from a different place, from a place of absolute rest. And we want to labor to enter the rest. God bless you. That's all I've got for you today. I'm praying that you continue to experience grace for life through Jesus Christ. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Before you run away, you could click some of these things right here and watch them. I think those might be videos that interest you. Or you can click my face and subscribe to the channel, which really helps me because it boosts our algorithm, helps us share the gospel with more people, but also helps you stay informed. I've been talking this whole time just so you could do this.